My girlfriend changed her Instagram bio to single dizzy without telling me. I didn't confront her. I just commented on her latest post. Good to know. Her phone started ringing before she could delete it. You're so clingy sometimes, you know that. She said it with a laugh. Like it was a joke. Like I was supposed to laugh too. I didn't. Because the way she said it. Light, airy, already looking back at her phone before the words even finished leaving her mouth. That wasn't a joke. That was a test. And I think she was relieved when I stayed quiet. I think she took my silence as permission. I didn't realize it then. But that moment was the first brick being laid. And by the time I figured out what she was building, the whole wall was already up. Here's what you need to understand before anything else. I love this girl. Not in the way people throw that word around like loose change. I mean the kind of love where you rearrange your schedule without being asked. Where you remember she hates the sound of crunching and you stop eating chips near her without her ever having to say it twice. Where you look at someone across a crowded room and feel genuinely, stupidly lucky that out of everyone in that room, you're the one who gets to go home with her. That's where I was. That's what I had on the line. And I was about to watch it unravel in real time, through a phone screen, in the middle of a Tuesday night, while she was sitting 15 feet away from me in the same apartment. I didn't know then that the thing I was about to lose wasn't just her. It was the version of myself that still believed people mean what they show you. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start from the night it actually started falling apart. Because there was a specific moment, one tiny, forgettable moment, that I keep coming back to. And I should have caught it then. I almost did. If you enjoy real stories like this, subscribe, because what happened next changed everything for me. I was 26. She was 24. We'd been together 2 years and 3 months, living together for 8 months of that. Small apartment, good neighborhood, one cat named Biscuit who liked her more than me and made no effort to hide it. That's all you need to know. It started on a Thursday. Nothing special about the day. I'd come home from work around 6:30, made dinner, pasta, because it was easy, and she came home around 8, said she'd eaten already, kissed me on the cheek, and disappeared into the bedroom with her phone. Normal. Or what had become normal. I sat on the couch, ate my pasta, watched whatever was on TV without actually watching it. And I told myself this was fine. I told myself every couple goes through phases where the energy dips a little. I told myself she was tired. I told myself a lot of things. The thing is, I'd been telling myself those things for about 6 weeks. Not consciously. But looking back now, I can trace it exactly. 6 weeks of almost. Almost the same as before. Almost present. Almost warm. Almost mine. That Thursday night, I knocked on the bedroom door, which, by the way, is a weird thing to do when it's your bedroom too, but we'd sort of naturally divided the apartment into zones when she needed space. And I said, "Hey, you want to watch something together?" She said, "I'm really tired, babe. Maybe tomorrow." I said, "Okay." And I went back to the couch. I sat there for another hour. And then I picked up my own phone. Not to check anything specific. Just that mindless, late-night scrolling where you're not really looking for anything, but you're hoping something will make the night feel less empty. I went to Instagram. Checked my feed. Some stuff from people I barely knew. A post from my friend Connor about some fishing trip he'd taken. And then, without really thinking about it, I went to her profile. Tessa. Her name was Tessa. I don't know why I went to her profile specifically. We followed each other obviously. I'd seen everything she'd posted recently, but for some reason my thumb just drifted there. And I landed on her page. And the first thing I saw, before her photos, before anything, was her bio. Tessa, 24, living for the little things. Single. I stared at it. I read it again. Single. I put my phone down on the cushion next to me. I sat very still. I could hear the TV. I could hear her in the bedroom. Some faint sound, maybe music, maybe a video. I picked my phone back up. Read it again. Single. Here's the thing about a moment like that. Your brain doesn't process it the way you'd expect. You'd think there would be immediate rage, or heartbreak, or tears. But what actually happens is a kind of cold, mechanical clarity. Like your emotions step back and let logic drive for a second. And logic said, she changed this deliberately. Logic said, this wasn't an accident. Logic said, she is 15 feet away from you right now, lying in the bed you share, and she has told the internet she is single. I sat with that for a very long time. Long enough that the TV show I wasn't watching ended and the next one started. Long enough that Biscuit jumped up onto the couch, gave me one look, and jumped back down like even the cat could feel the shift in the air. I didn't go into the bedroom. I didn't call her name. I didn't do anything. Because here's what I learned about myself over 26 years of being alive. When I'm actually hurt, genuinely, deeply hurt, I go very quiet. Not as a tactic, not to punish anyone, just because there are no words that feel right yet. And I refused to say the wrong thing. So I waited. I went to bed late. She was already asleep when I came in, or pretending to be. I lay there in the dark, and I thought about the past 6 weeks. Really thought about it. Not the gentle, generous version I'd been feeding myself. The honest version. The version where I noticed she'd stopped tagging me in things. The version where I noticed her laugh sounded different on the phone when she walked into the other room to take calls. The version where I noticed she'd started going to the gym 3 times a week, which I praised, but she'd started getting dressed after the gym rather than before, and coming home looking better than when she left. The version where she stopped saying "we" when she talked about future plans. Just little things. Individually, nothing. But together, in the dark, at 1 a.m., with single fresh in my brain, they felt like a very clear picture. I didn't sleep much that night. Friday morning she was up before me. Made herself coffee, didn't make me any. She used to always make 2 cups, and was dressed and out the door before I even came out of the bedroom. Early morning, sorry, she called from the hallway. Text you later. Door closed. I stood in the kitchen in my socks. Made my own coffee. Opened Instagram. Bio was still the same. Single. I screenshotted it. Not for anyone. Just for me. Just to prove to myself I hadn't imagined it. The next 2 days were a kind of strange performance. She came home. We talked. She was fine. Warm enough. No red flags in conversation. But there was this distance. Like talking through glass. She'd be physically present and emotionally 3 time zones away. And I kept waiting for her to say something. Some explanation. Some accidental mention. Something that would make the bio make sense. She never did. Saturday night, we ordered takeout. Sat on the couch together. She laughed at a dumb commercial. I watched her laugh and thought, does she even know she left it up? Or does she know and she's waiting for me to bring it up? Or does she want me to bring it up so she has an opening? I couldn't tell. And not being able to tell was its own kind of quiet torture. Sunday afternoon, I texted Connor. Connor was my oldest friend. The kind of friend who tells you things you don't want to hear without making it feel like an attack. I sent him the screenshot. No context. Just the screenshot. 3 seconds later my phone buzzed. Bro. I called him. Talk to me, he said. I don't know what to do. I said. How long has that been up? Found it Thursday. Haven't said anything. He was quiet for a second. Are you sure it's not like an old bio? Maybe she forgot to update it when you guys got together. I said, Connor, we've been together 2 years. She's tagged me in posts. She's had taken in her bio before. This is new. He exhaled. Okay. Yeah. Do you think she's? I don't know. I said, cutting him off. Because I didn't want to say it out loud. Saying it out loud would make it real before I was ready. What are you going to do? He asked. I thought about it. Nothing yet. I said. I'm watching. Connor went quiet again. Okay. He said slowly. In that tone he uses when he thinks I'm making a mistake, but respects me enough not to say so. Just don't wait too long, he added. I said I wouldn't. Monday night. She posted. It was a photo she'd taken at a coffee shop. Aesthetic, good light. Her hand wrapped around a mug, a book on the table. Nice photo. She posted it around 9 p.m. I was sitting on the other side of the apartment. She didn't show me the photo. She didn't say, hey, look what I'm posting. We used to do that. We used to show each other things before we put them out into the world. I noticed she didn't. I opened Instagram. Saw the photo. Looked at the caption. Something about needing slow mornings and good coffee. Liked it. Like I always did. And then, I don't know why, I scrolled down to the comments. 17 comments in 3 minutes. Normal. She had a decent following, about 4,000 people. I scrolled. And then I stopped. Third comment from the top. A guy named Carter. Finally some peace and quiet smirking face. And she had replied. Already, within 2 minutes. With a laughing emoji and a you have no idea loudly crying face. I stared at that exchange. Finally some peace and quiet. Like she'd been waiting to exhale. Like something, or someone, had been suffocating her. Like I had been suffocating her. And she was laughing about it with some guy named Carter. I put my phone down. I stood up from the couch. Walked to the kitchen. Got a glass of water. Stood at the sink and drank it slowly. Walked back to the couch. Picked up my phone. Looked at the comment again. Then I scrolled to Carter's profile. Public account. 24 years old. Good looking in the specific way that feels like a statement. Gym photos, clean clothes, a lot of photos from places that had to be planned around, making for good content. And there, in the third photo down on his grid, was a comment from Tessa. A comment that was 3 weeks old. "This place looks incredible. You have to take me see no evil monkey." 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago I was telling myself she was just tired. 3 weeks ago I was making excuses. 3 weeks ago she was telling some guy on Instagram she wanted him to take her places. I didn't say a word to her that night. I said goodnight, went to bed, lay in the dark, and started to build a very clear, very calm picture. Tuesday. She was home early for once. She was in a good mood. Made dinner. Actually cooked, which she hadn't done in weeks. Pasta, weirdly enough. We sat at the table and she talked about her day, and I listened and responded, and to anyone watching it would have looked perfectly normal. And the whole time I was thinking, Carter. Carter who you told to take you places. Carter who made you laugh about your suffocating relationship. I didn't bring it up. Not yet. After dinner, she went to sit on the couch with her phone. I cleaned up, washed the dishes, dried them, put them away. Then I sat down next to her. "Hey," I said. "Hey," she said, not looking up. "How's Instagram?" I asked. She looked up at that. Half smile. "Fine, what?" "No reason," I said. "Just noticed you've been on it a lot lately." She shrugged. "It's been kind of blowing up a little. More engagement than usual." "Yeah," I said. "What kind of engagement?" She looked back at her phone. "Just people, comments and stuff. You know how it is." "Yeah," I said. "I know how it is." She didn't catch it. She just scrolled. And I sat next to her and thought about the fact that I was sharing a couch, sharing a life, with someone who had told the internet she was single, had a guy flirting openly in her comments, and was sitting right next to me completely unbothered. That night, after she fell asleep, I lay awake for a long time. And I thought about what kind of person I was. Not in a self-pitying way, more like an inventory. I thought, am I the kind of person who explodes? No, I never had been. Am I the kind of person who cries and begs? No, that had never felt like me either. Am I the kind of person who just walks away quietly? Sometimes, but not yet. Not before I knew exactly what I was walking away from. Not before she had to look at what she'd been doing. Wednesday, she posted again. Different vibe this time. She was out somewhere, looked like a rooftop bar or something, soft lighting, dressed up. She hadn't mentioned going out. She'd told me she was visiting a friend. Brooke. She'd said Brooke's name specifically. And maybe Brooke was there. Maybe. But in the photo it was just her. Dressed up. Smiling in a way I hadn't seen her smile in weeks. Comments rolling in fast. I went to the comments. Carter was there. Looking dangerous fire. She'd replied with a single fire emoji. Just one. No words. Just one fire emoji to the man who thought she looked dangerous. I sat with my phone in my hand. And I felt something shift inside me. Not rage. Colder than rage. Clearer than rage. I went to her bio. Still there. Single. And something in me just decided. I was done waiting. I was done watching. I wasn't going to call her out in private where she could spin it, explain it, reframe it, turn it around on me, and make me feel crazy for noticing. No, I was going to let it happen in the same place she'd been performing. In public. I went to her latest post. The rooftop bar photo. The dangerous-looking photo. The photo she'd posted while telling me she was at Brooks. And I typed a comment. For words. Good to know. Waited 1 second. Hit post. Put my phone face down on the table. And waited. I should tell you something now. Something I didn't understand until much later. When I met Tessa, I was coming out of a long stretch of being alone. Not lonely, alone. There's a difference. I'd spent 2 years after my last relationship just rebuilding myself. Quietly. Getting my life in order, my apartment, my habits, my head. And when I met her, it felt like a reward. Like the universe handing me something I'd finally earned. She was funny and sharp, and she paid attention. She remembered small things. On our third date, she ordered dessert and slid it to the middle of the table without asking if I wanted to share, because she'd already figured out that I always wanted dessert, but always acted like I didn't. I fell for her fast, and I held on maybe a little too firmly because of it. Not in a controlling way, but in the way where you've been careful with yourself for a long time, and then suddenly you're not careful anymore, and part of you knows it, but you don't stop because it feels too good to stop. I poured into that relationship. All of it. I was present. I was consistent. I showed up. And what I never asked myself, what I refused to ask for 2 years, was whether she was doing the same thing. I just assumed love was symmetrical. I assumed that if I was all in, she was all in. I assumed that the warmth I felt from her was the same temperature as the warmth I was giving. I was wrong. And the worst part? There were signs. Early ones. She'd once joked, about 8 months in, that I was too available. Her words. Too available. Like being reliably present was a character flaw. I'd laughed it off. I told myself it was a funny observation. But I think, looking back, it told me everything about what she found attractive. She liked the tension. She liked the chase. She liked the version of love that had edges and uncertainty and kept her guessing. And I had stopped being that, if I'd ever been it at all. So she went looking for it somewhere else. And she found Carter. Carter, who was probably exciting because he was new. Carter, who she hadn't washed dishes with. Carter, who had never seen her sick or stressed about money or exhausted after a 12-hour day. Carter, who was still a fantasy. And I had become the reality. I don't say any of this to excuse her. I say it because understanding it, really understanding it, was the only way I could stay as calm as I did. Because the second I understood it, I stopped taking it personally. This wasn't about what was wrong with me. This was about what she'd convinced herself she was missing. And that was her loss to live with. Not mine. My phone started ringing. Not hers. Mine. About 4 minutes after I'd posted that comment. Her name on the screen. She was calling me. From whatever rooftop she was standing on. From the photo that was still getting likes. I let it ring. It rang out. 3 seconds later, again. I picked up. Hey, I said. What does that mean? She said immediately. No greeting. No pretense. Straight to it. Her voice was fast. A little breathless. What does what mean? I said. Your comment. On my photo. What does good to know mean? I didn't say anything for a second. I let the silence sit. I think you know what it means, I said. No, I don't. That's why I'm asking. Her voice had shifted. That particular shift, from sharp to almost sweet, that I'd come to recognize as her preparing to manage a situation. Your bio, Tessa, I said. Quiet. What? Your Instagram bio. Single. With the little star emoji. I saw it. Dead silence. 4, 5, 6 seconds of absolute nothing. And I knew. In that silence, I knew everything. Because if it had been a mistake, she would have said so immediately. If it had been old, she would have said so. If it had meant nothing, there would have been nothing to be silent about. But she was silent, which meant she knew exactly what she'd done. And she was deciding, right now, how to play it. That's not, she started. And Carter, I said. Another pause. Shorter this time. What about Carter? Finally some peace and quiet. I said it back to her. Her words. His words. That comment. That's what he said on your coffee shop photo. And you laughed about it with him. You have no idea. That's what you said. He's just a friend. Take me there. I said. 3 weeks ago. On his profile. You told him to take you somewhere. She went quiet again. I could hear background noise on her end. A crowd, faintly. Music. She was still at that bar. Or outside it. Where are you? I asked. Because you told me you were at Brooks. I am at Brooks. Tessa. I said her name and nothing else. And something in the way I said it. Just her name. Flat. No heat. No question. Something in that made her stop. She exhaled. Okay, she said quietly. Okay, I said. We stayed on the phone in silence for a moment. Are you? She started. Don't, I said. Don't what? Don't ask if I'm okay. Not right now. She was quiet. I need to know one thing, I said. What? Is it just the bio? Or has something actually happened with him? A pause. Not a long one, but long enough. Nothing physical has happened, she said. Nothing physical. The specific, careful wording of someone who is technically telling the truth while burying what's underneath it. But, I said. Another pause. We've been talking, she said. For a couple of months. A couple of months. So this had been going on since before the clinginess comment. Since before the separate zones. Since before the laughing on the phone in the other room. 2 months. Talking like what? I said. Just talking. Like I said, nothing. I heard you the first time, I said. I'm asking what talking means. Because talking can mean a lot of things, and you're choosing your words very carefully right now. She exhaled sharply. I don't know what you want me to say. I want you to say the truth, I said. Not the version of the truth that leaves you feeling okay about it. Silence. We've been talking every day, she said. And I think I have feelings for him. There it was. The thing underneath the careful words. The thing that the bio was announcing. The thing she'd been setting up for 2 months without saying a single word to me. I sat in the apartment. Our apartment, the one we'd set up together, with Biscuit asleep on the chair across from me. And I listened to her tell me that she had feelings for someone else. And I felt something strange. Not what I expected. Not devastation. Something closer to relief. Because at least now it was real. At least now I wasn't making it up. At least now I could respond to what was actually happening instead of shadows. Okay, I said. Okay, she repeated. Yeah. That's all you have to say? What do you want me to say, Tessa? I don't know, she said. Yell at me. Be angry. Something. I'm not going to yell at you. Why not? Because it won't change anything, I said. And because I'm not angry. You're not angry? No. Then what are you? I thought about it honestly. Tired, I said. She went quiet. I've been tired for 6 weeks, I said. Trying to figure out what was wrong. Telling myself it was nothing. Watching you disappear piece by piece and pretending I wasn't watching it happen. I didn't mean to. I know, I said. That's actually the part that gets me. You weren't trying to hurt me. You were just not thinking about me at all. The line was silent. I was going to tell you, she said quietly. When? She didn't answer. When it was convenient? I said. Not mean. Just honest. She made a small sound. Something between a breath and a word. Come home, I said. What? Come home. Tonight. We need to talk in person. Are you? She stopped. Okay. Yeah. I'll come home. Okay. Are you sure you're not angry? Tessa, I said. Come home. I hung up. Sat on the couch. Biscuit jumped up next to me this time. Settled against my leg. I put my hand on his back and sat there in the quiet. And I thought about the fact that a comment, 4 words, good to know, had done in 4 minutes what 6 weeks of silence and questions and late nights hadn't done. It had made it real. It had brought it out of the shadows. It had forced the conversation. Not because I'd been clever. Not because I'd planned it as a strategy. But because I'd been done waiting. And sometimes that's all it takes. Just deciding you're done waiting. She came home around 11. I heard her key in the lock. She walked in and looked at me sitting on the couch, and I looked at her, and for a moment neither of us said anything. She sat down in the chair across from me. Not next to me. Across from me. Biscuit, the loyal little traitor, got up and walked directly to her. She put a hand on him. Hi, she said. Hi, I said. We looked at each other. I don't know where to start, she said. Start with what's true, I said. She took a breath. I haven't been happy, she said. For a while, and I didn't know how to say that. So instead of saying it, you changed your bio. She winced. I know, she said. That was cowardly, I said. She looked up. That's what it was, I said. Not cruel. Just clear. Changing your bio to single while we're living together. That's not brave self-expression. That's cowardly. You wanted an exit door, but you didn't want to be the one to open it. She was quiet for a long time. Yeah, she said finally. That's fair. I appreciated that she didn't argue it. Are you in love with him? I asked. She hesitated. I don't know, she said. I don't think so. I think I'm in love with how I feel when I'm talking to him. Which isn't the same thing. No, I agreed. It's not. But it felt like something, she said. And I hadn't felt something new in a long time. New, I said. She looked at me. I became boring to you, I said. That's not. I'm not saying it to guilt you. I'm saying it because I think it's accurate and I think you should hear it out loud. She was quiet. I think somewhere along the way, you looked at me and saw routine instead of someone you chose. And I think instead of working on that, you started looking for the feeling somewhere it was still new. She had tears in her eyes. I'm sorry, she said. I know, I said. I really am. I know. I stood up from the couch, walked to the window, stood there for a moment looking out at the street. Then I turned around. I'm going to stay at Connor's for a few days, I said. She looked up sharply. You don't have to. I want to, I said. I need to think. And you need to figure out what you actually want. Not what feels exciting right now. What you actually want. She wiped at her eye. And if I want to fix this, she asked. I looked at her. Then you'll need to do more than say it, I said. I've been here. I've been consistent. I've been all in. And if that's not enough for you right now, if you need to feel the absence of it to know whether you want it, then okay. But I'm not going to wait around while you figure it out with him still in the picture. I'll stop talking to him, she said quickly. Tonight, she added. I looked at her, and I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to. But wanting and knowing are different things. And I'd spent 6 weeks choosing wanting over knowing. That's your decision to make, I said. Not a bargaining chip. If you stop talking to him, do it because you've genuinely decided. Not because you're afraid I'm leaving. She was quiet. Okay, she said. I went to the bedroom, packed a bag, came back out. She was still in the chair, biscuit in her lap, looking at the floor. Hey, I said. She looked up. I'm not doing this to punish you, I said. I know, she said. I just need some space to know what I'm feeling. She nodded. Okay, she said softly. I walked to the door, opened it, paused with my hand on the frame. The bio's still up, I said. She looked up. Go change it, I said. And I left. I stayed at Connor's for 4 days. He didn't push. Didn't ask too many questions. Let me sleep on his couch and eat his food and watch his terrible TV and just be quiet for a while. On the second night he asked, "What do you think you're going to do?" I thought about it. "I don't know yet," I said. He nodded. "Do you want to go back?" I thought about that too. "I want the person I thought she was," I said. "I'm not sure that person exists in the way I thought." He was quiet. "That's a real answer," he said. "Yeah," I said. On the fourth day, she texted. I talked to Carter. Told him it needed to stop. I blocked him. I changed my bio. "I've been thinking about everything you said. I don't want to lose you, but I understand if that's already decided." I read it 3 times. Then I put my phone down. And I thought about everything. About the bio. About the comments. About the phone call. About nothing physical has happened, and I think I have feelings for him. About 2 months. About 2 available. About finally some peace and quiet. About all of it. And I thought about the 2 years before that. The dessert she'd slid to the middle of the table. The small things she remembered. The way she'd once driven 40 minutes in traffic to bring me medicine when I was sick, without being asked, because she'd just known. The version of her that had been whole and present and here. The version I'd built a life with. I thought about whether that version was still in there, or whether I'd been holding on to a memory. I didn't have the answer yet, but I knew one thing. I was not going to go back to the apartment and pretend the last 6 weeks hadn't happened. I was not going to smile and say it's fine and go back to normal. If there was a way forward, it had to be built on something different, something honest, something where she'd chosen me after having to live with the possibility of losing me. Not for convenience, not for comfort, but because she looked at the empty apartment and the blocked contact and the changed bio and decided, with full information, that she wanted this. And if she couldn't decide that, then I'd survived being alone before. I had done it well. I could do it again. I texted her back. "I'm coming home Saturday. We'll talk then." She replied, "Okay, I'll be here." Saturday afternoon, I walked into the apartment. She was there, sitting on the couch, biscuit next to her, looking like she'd been waiting exactly there since I'd said Saturday. She looked like she hadn't slept well. Honestly, good. I sat across from her. Same positions as last time. And we talked. Really talked. Not the glass through glass kind. The actual kind, where things are said that can't be unsaid, and that's the whole point. She told me she'd felt unseen for months. I told her she'd never said so. She told me she didn't know how to without feeling needy. I told her that needing things from your partner isn't needy. It's the entire point of having one. She told me she'd been scared of how comfortable we'd gotten. I told her that comfortable isn't the enemy of love. It's what love becomes when it's real. She said she'd been romanticizing something that didn't exist. I said I knew. She said she was sorry. I said I heard her. We sat in silence for a while. Biscuit walked from her side to mine. Finally chose me. "About time. I don't know if I trust you right now," I said. She nodded. "I know," she said. "That's fair. And I'm not going to pretend I do," I said. "If we do this, you need to know that it's going to take time. And I'm not going to act fine before I actually am fine. I don't want you to," she said. "And if I ever feel like I'm watching you disappear again," I said, "I'm not going to wait 6 weeks next time. I'm going to say it. I want you to," she said. I looked at her. She looked back. And for the first time in 6 weeks, she was actually there. Present. Not through glass. Not performing warmth. Just sitting in the mess of what she'd done, not flinching from it. And that, more than any apology, told me something. It didn't fix everything. It didn't erase the 2 months, the bio, the finally some peace and quiet. But it was the first honest moment we'd had in a very long time. And I decided it was enough to start with. Not enough to end the conversation. Not enough to go back to normal. But enough to take one more step instead of the door. We're still working on it. Some days it's good. Some days I look at her phone across the room and feel something I can't quite name yet. Some days she reaches across the table and squeezes my hand, and I think, maybe. But here's what I know for certain. The moment I typed those 4 words, "good to know," and hit post, I stopped disappearing. And sometimes, that's the thing that saves you. Not the confrontation. Not the argument. Not the tears. Just the moment you decide you're done being invisible in your own relationship. Because she didn't hear me when I was quiet. But she heard me from across the apartment through a phone screen in 4 words. And if someone only sees you when you stop shrinking, that tells you everything you need to know about how much space you've been giving away. I'm not giving it away anymore. If this hit different, you know what to do.